So we're going to get started here. And today I have Alex Anderson with me, and he is the founder of Dream. He builds digital media products, writes about founders' journey, and hosts live podcasts featuring creators and founders from around the world. Okay. He is a former enterprise database specialist turned independent entrepreneur. Okay. And Alex here is from Dublin, Ireland. Okay. Dublin is a UNESCO city of literature, the capital and the largest city in Ireland, and also known as the home of the Guinness Brewery. Okay. And so it was originally founded by the Vikings, and its name came from the Old Irish, meaning black pool. So, Alex, please introduce yourself and tell us how you made it to Substack.
Fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to just throw it out there. I'm natively from Norway, been in Ireland for the past 14 years. So I ended up on Substack initially because I started writing during one of my burnouts in my enterprise role. So I needed somewhere to kind of just journal, write, those kind of different things, just get your mind out, have a good time. And during that process, I kind of wrote a whole bunch of like short novels, like, 2,000 words, 3,000 words. And I told him, okay, it was actually ChatGPT who convinced me that my writing was so good, the world had to see it, right? And I was like, oh, fantastic, the world must see this. Thank you, ChatGPT, for giving me way more false confidence. So I was like, how do I share this? How do I publish, right? How do I go viral? And then I came to Substack because it just seemed like a good place, to share writing and such things. So then my plan was I wanted to develop my writing skills. So I ended up doing like weekly publishing. I thought it was, super fun. Why not? It was a great way of doing things. And that kind of just took off in a very unexpected, path as a whole. Because, Substack, the first thing you realize about Substack, you're posting and it kind of just vanishes, right? It just goes away. And you're like, you don't really understand how the Substack stuff work. I don't understand how marketing worked. I didn't understand how everything was working. So I just kind of started. That's actually how the full journey of writing and my social media tools and automation and really everything kind of came to fruition was because I came to Substack and I realized there was a whole world I needed to learn about and a whole world I was able to tackle. So that's actually how Dream came to be initially, was me tackling one challenge and then another one, and then all the challenges just kind of came rolling. So that's a little bit about me and how I came to Substack. It's a fantastic place. Love being here. Love being a podcast. It's always fun to be talking on camera, even though I was terrified of talking on camera initially. But here we are still.
Well, I couldn't tell because when I came to your live, you were talking to a content creator from Pakistan, if I'm not correct.
Uzbekistan. Yeah,
oh, I'm sorry.
No worries.
I found it very interesting that you're from Ireland and she is from wherever you said that country was. And so the conversation was like really like two different sides of the spectrum. You're over here and she's over there, and you guys was having a very intellectual conversation.
I think it was fantastic. Having a chat with Madina in Uzbekistan was absolutely beautiful because you really get the opportunity to have that conversation across cultures, right? Across cultures and generation. Because me being 38, and she being much younger, it's just I have one perspective. She will have a different perspective. And it shows, it's fantastic. It gives a bit more diversity because, in Ireland, you get an echo chamber of, this world and in a certain, the Western world and so forth, but you don't get opportunity to have a conversation across the globe, in that sense. And I personally love having conversations that can cross into especially cultures I'm not familiar with. I think that's fantastic because, especially in the modern world these days, we are very polarized. You're either on that side or that side. So to go ahead and just cross across that polarization and just meet like, equal-minded people, that's fantastic. I think that's what Substack is all about. I think we are all too intelligent to be too pulled into that madness, to be honest.
Exactly. On normal circumstances, I would not approach you, okay, because I would think that you would be closed minded and wouldn't want to talk to me being an African American, okay?
Yeah.
So I would avoid talking to you specifically because I would be afraid of being rejected. But after the conversation you had with her, I was felt more willing to reach out to you. Hey, Alex, let's have a conversation. Let's see how we can collaborate.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
yeah, so I
That's
was much
fantastic.
more wanting to reach out to you. So one of the things that you and I talked about during our conversation is that you reminded me of Anna Taylor-Joy from the movie The Queen's Gambit with the long
This
hair.
my favorite movie of all times. It surely is my favorite movie. I love her. She is literally my favorite actor of all times. I don't think there's any actors that is better than her, in my opinion, at least, because she's fantastic. Truly is fantastic. And the way she can go from this intellectual, but also you get to see this the side where she kind of falls apart with the drinking and all those different things. And, she just plays the role incredibly well. And I just get so impressed by it. I think she's easily my favorite actor. I think I've watched that movie like 4 or 5 times and I never get tired of it. She is truly brilliant across everything she's been doing, in my opinion. And her eyes, I don't know how she does it. She got these incredibly large eyes. And I'm like, you are like human 2.0. How do I become that? She is fantastic.
When
Absolutely.
I Yeah, so when I saw you and I thought about her and it's like you took on her persona standing there and then your voice was just so soft, so just right. And I'm like, "Oh my God, you just had me captivated." Okay?
Why, thank you.
Yeah,
It's
and I'm like, yeah, you have that presence about you.
no, she truly is amazing, and thank you so much for the compliment. I think that must be the ultimate compliment I've ever had my whole life is to be assimilated with what I think is the best actor ever. From
She is.
her aura. Yeah, yeah, she's amazing.
She
Truly.
is. She is. Uh, another thing I had told you about that reminded me of you was Clockwork Orange. I don't know if you saw that movie after we talked, but that was a 1971 film written, produced, and directed by Stanley Kubrick. Okay, it was based on Anthony Burgess' 1962 novel. It was a crime sci-fi movie starring Malcolm McDowell.
I actually haven't watched it. Um, but I definitely looked up a few trailers and such things, from that movie, which looks very interesting. I'm gonna have to give it a spin and see who is this person. And yeah, definitely, I'm very very curious to see what that movie is about. But it truly is a fantastic movie. No doubt. But yeah, thank you so much. I don't think anyone ever told me I remind them of a movie character or a not a character but an actor, so to speak. But thank you.
Yeah, and also that same Andy Warhol directed a 1965 black and white film, Vinyl, okay, at the Factory, which was an early adaptation of Anthony Burgess' 1962 novel, which I told you you remind me of him too, as well as David Bowie.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you mentioned David Bowie is also one of my favorites, though. I mean, he made the best music of all time, in my opinion. So you definitely gave me quite a cocktail of people to remind you about for sure. But yeah, thank you so much, especially David Bowie, and an actor in The Queen's Gambit. That's my two favorite compliments of all times. My entire life, I think, to be honest. Um, but yeah, thank you so much. Happy
No
days.
problem. No problem. Because when I first started doing lives, I had to take on these personas. And one of my favorite personas is Nene Leakes. Nene Leakes is the queen, okay? She will read you and she will give you receipts. And
Yeah,
so I took on her persona, and I was able to perform as I needed to at that time.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. I think that's a really good way of doing it because, performing or being on a podcast in general, it's always going to quite nerve-wracking, especially if you're not used to being a public figure of any sort. So it's definitely, a huge thing to step on a camera and be like, "Hi, people," because it's just not something I would personally normally do. It was on my to-do list to build a company authentically. I just didn't know what authentically truly meant, and then I realized that, oh my God, I need to be on camera. I was like, well, let's do it, So I just put up my tripod and I just did some filming by myself. I'm like, okay, I think you're ready, Alex. Go for it. See what happens. Maybe we'll get shred to pieces or not, but so far so good.
Yeah, whatever it's going to take for us to get up on that stage or, do that presentation, whatever it is, do that. Okay. If
Yeah,
you have to take on another persona, whatever. Because if you see me on the street on normal circumstances, I probably wouldn't speak to you. Okay. Because I am really an introvert and I really pick and choose who I prefer to talk to. And
oh really?
sometimes I just don't want to talk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm so active on Substack. Think about it. You would think I'm an extrovert, but I'm not. I'm not.
Exactly.
Not in no means. Okay.
Yeah,
But
it's actually
go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say it's actually quite interesting because like I used to be very extroverted in the past, but I had so many strange experiences on the street that I kind of started becoming more and more introvert because I realized there was a 50-50 chance between bumping into a crazy person and not a crazy person. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna run to the store and run back and pretend the world doesn't exist because I realized I get this point, like being extrovert on camera, but I too have also gone very much from extrovert to introvert in general because it's just I find that things have kind of changed a little bit on the streets. People used to be weird. I'm weird. That's fine. But
So am I.
now people are, yeah, exactly. But now kind of things have, I don't know. I feel like things have just changed in a weird way that my extroversion is kind of becoming more introvert again. Um, but that's fine. We got cameras now. We can be inside and be chatting across the world. It's all grand.
Yes, and I have become somewhat of a recluse if it wasn't for the dogs. I probably wouldn't even go out. I still spend most of my time inside, and I'm good with that, okay? I am very good with that. With
Yeah.
all the trauma and all the things that I've gone through, peace is at the top of my list, okay?
Oh,
Peace and
100%.
serenity, okay?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and as soon as you go outside, here they come. Oh, you want to talk? Oh no, I don't feel like talking. I done did enough talking today. Hi, bye. I ain't got nothing to say.
Yeah. No, but exactly. But the thing is, like, you guys actually have, when I first came to Ireland, so there's this thing here, they say, hi, how are you doing? Which is a greeting, right? It's essentially the same as saying hi. But I didn't know that back in the days when I first came in, 14 years ago. So I went to the store and the store clerk goes, "Hey, how are you doing?" And me being a Norwegian, I was like, "Oh, wow, what a nice person. Let me explain her my entire life." And I'm like, "I'm doing well. I just came to Ireland," and I kind of gave her half my life story. She's looking at me kind of strange. I'm like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "You asked me how I'm doing. So what's the story? Why are you, looking so strange? I'm just answering your question." But then I learned a week later that it's just a greeting. It's just a pleasant hi. I wasn't prepared for
Oh,
it, but
okay.
I thought it was funny. Yeah, yeah. But now, after being here for 14 years, I use the same phrase. And then when people do stop and tell me their whole life story, I'm like, oh no, please don't. I was just saying hi. I mean, I've been there, I get it, but I wasn't really asking for it. Just as the store clerk weren't asking for me. So yeah, there we go. That's my coming to Ireland story.
Yeah, sometimes I see people coming and I just look down and I'm like, were you talking to me? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It's actually quite
Thinking they'll
funny.
go away.
Yeah, but it's actually quite interesting because I've been introverted for a while now, and then I was attending something called a SASTOC, which is essentially a founders investor event in Dublin. And whoop, suddenly it's turned off. And then suddenly I was essentially why is it turning? I don't even know. Sorry. Um,
It has a
shall I
mind of
just?
its own.
Yeah, it definitely does now. Um, all right. Let's hopefully it stops doing that. Okay, there we go. We're kind of back. So yeah, I was supposed to be extroverted and pitching to people and pitching my solutions, pitching my company, pitching everything um to people who actually know what they were doing and talking about. And I never gone from being introverted to extroverted that fast my entire life. I walked to an event, I stood outside thinking, shit. And then I walked inside, and then that was essentially 10 hours of pitching nonstop the whole day. And there we go. That's how I got back to being extroverted because you didn't really have much choice, you know.
There it is. And the same here. If you're not extroverted, you have to act like you are. And if you want to get subscribers, okay, you can't have that introverted stuff here because
Yeah,
you gotta
exactly.
you gotta open your mouth because people don't know what you're saying, know what you're
Wow.
thinking.
This is
Okay.
quite unique camera today. Yeah, no, I completely get that. It's truly, why is it doing that now? Sorry, just my camera being.
That's okay. I'm gonna continue talking. Okay, in the meantime.
Dude.
So the thing of it is, I'm forced to be extroverted, but that's okay. It's all
Yep.
good. The thing of it is, we have to have flexibility. I'll be extroverted when I need to be, and when I can, I will be my introverted self over here. Okay.
I think that's fantastic. But you make a good point though, because when it comes to business and so forth, you know, one of the first thing you have to learn is cold calling, cold reach out, cold everything, because you know initially you want to go ahead and I suppose do the hard parts. You have to start somewhere. Nobody knows who you are, so you have to like reach out, like, "Hi, I'm this person. Do you want to go ahead and join a podcast, collaboration, whatever?" And but that's the same thing in business in real life, right? You can't start a business in real life unless you're willing to do cold calling, or unless you're willing to do cold outreaches, or simply go on LinkedIn and reach out to people, or speak to people in general. So you have to be going down that route anyway, regardless what platform you find yourself on, because you're going to need allies, you're going to need people who want to collaborate. And in many cases, sales is kind of like a numbers game because if you get, let's say, 3% out of 100, then you just have to kind of go to the numbers until you get to the point you want to get to, essentially. And that's how it's done.
I love one-on-one conversations, okay? That's golden for me. I have like 5 or 6 a day. No
Yeah,
problem. But when you're getting into a larger group, that's where it comes much more, muddled or whatever. So I'm like, so now I'm having to figure out how to build the community, okay? I'm good in notes. So how can
yeah,
I transfer that to the community?
yeah,
That's
exactly.
that's going to take a longer time frame, okay? Because people don't want to necessarily open up because they don't want to look stupid or they don't want to look whatever. You don't look stupid. Only dumb question is the one you don't ask. If you don't know, ask. Open your mouth.
Exactly. That's a good
Okay?
point, actually. Yeah, I think every group needs that one person who asks the stupid questions because it creates that atmosphere like, hey, I can ask this question. So in every role I've ever taken on in my like professional life, I've always been the one to ask really basic questions because I know it opens up the floor for other people to ask questions at every level. And I think that's really important because from training environments to collaboration to communities you kind of have to be that person to ask certain type of questions at a certain type of experience level so people feel comfortable opening up across the board, so to speak. But you're right, fostering that kind of community where people feel safe to say whatever or ask anything, that's the key for every community, I think.
It is because a lot of times you open up and want to talk and then you're ridiculed, and so
Yeah,
that's why a lot of people will just prefer not to say anything rather than to ask or they don't want to be a burden. But you're not a burden because you're part of a community. And being a part of a community that means that you have this uh resource available to you, use it. Okay.
Exactly.
And it's free, you know?
Yeah.
And we're all here together. We all have these talents, skills, and the expertise. So how can we utilize them to help the people within our community? Okay, that's what I'm about. I don't understand why people are not wanting to be. They say they want to be a part of a community, but yet they don't. So
Yeah.
I don't know, because I worked for the government for 39 years, and all my work got done from me working with other people. I
Yeah,
couldn't get my
exactly.
work done unless I talked to you and say, I need this documentation because it's missing from my report. Can you
Yeah,
please provide me this so I can complete this? We all on the same mission. Okay.
exactly. That's the thing.
So I don't understand the mentality of people, and I can't worry about it. I have to worry about the people that gets me and understand what I'm relaying, and leave the rest to wherever they're at in their heads.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think I
that's
know.
it.
Yeah, I don't think I even know. I don't know the answer to it. I think I kind of like can nudge in certain direction because I was part of this business seminar type of thing, and somebody was saying that, which is really interesting. I never thought about it. Someone says that, well, what confirmation do you have that nobody steals your business idea, runs off with it? And then the trainer said, here's what you can do. You can walk down to the most busiest square in the world. You can shout your business ideas to the world, and nobody's going to care. And that's true, to be honest. That's true because we are not lacking of ideas. We are often just lacking either execution or something along those lines. It is not. So I think it's kind of like it's really interesting the way he approached that because she was afraid that someone would take her business idea because we all think our business ideas are amazing, are truly one of a kind, right? They are the most perfect thing that ever existed. When in reality, there is a trillions of ideas, and there probably is millions of them that are even better. It's just this one means more to us, and we think it's truly amazing. So I think it's just a lot of people is a combination of A, being afraid of having their ideas taken, or B, it's the lack of confidence to mention their ideas or to throw them on the table. I think that's kind of like the two bigger contributing factors that people actually think that their ideas are the best, um, which I think is interesting. And we think we all do. Like if you have an idea we truly believe in, we just like we go like, oh, this is the best thing in the world. Even in reality, is there is probably thousands of people doing exactly the same thing. So yeah,
Go figure. Because as a coach, when I go and look at everybody's videos, we are all saying the same thing. We're just saying it in a different way. Okay?
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's well that's the thing though, isn't it? Like we are pretty much just saying the same. It is the same words, just in different ways, pretty much. So
Exactly. So what sets us apart from other people doing the same thing? Uh your your truth, your realness, okay? And
exactly,
people gravitate towards that. Okay?
yeah,
Then they will
100%,
decide which person they want to follow, which person they want to subscribe to based on
exactly,
that. Okay?
yeah. No, that's a good point. It really is. I think today, especially today, the biggest asset any founder, creator have, whatever it might be, it is your or our authenticity, or the way we are being authentic to the community and authentic to people in general. Because, if you go on Substack, LinkedIn, whatever platform, you're going to be um, experiencing a lot of content saturation, right? AI, opinions, whatever. So only truly differentiator between you and thousands or millions of other people is your face, is your personality, it's your tonality, whoever you are, right? That's the differentiator. That's how you need to build your brand. It's truly you or us, and the brand itself that truly needs to, yeah. So there we go. That's my thoughts anyway. That's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, every day I am learning something new, which is really good. So I'm evolving. We all are evolving every day. Okay. And
Yeah.
so we have some comments down here. Let me check on that. Kyra said a beautiful gift from this technology is the ability to connect with a wide variety of people from different cultures.
I completely agree. It truly is. I think technology is that one thing that allows us to make that full connection. And even though the political landscape may be completely insane, we can still make those authentic connections. And I think that's amazing. For example, me being a fairly queer person still makes friends with somebody who's deeply Muslim, for example. I think that's fantastic because it just allows us to kind of go through all those different things. And I don't have time for all that hate. And neither does she, right? So, but the friendship can still be made because we are still making it on a authentic, um, you know, humanity type of thing, so to speak. If that makes sense. Does that make sense? Um,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. You are so open-minded. That's why I reached out to you and like, hey, let's do this. Okay?
it's
Yeah.
but I think that that's the way to do it, right? I think that's the easiest way to kind of battle situation you're currently in, where everyone wants to hate everyone, is to befriend everyone. You know, just befriend the most unlikely people we possibly can, the ones that are the most religious, the least religious, the most this, most that, whatever it is. Just befriend all of them and truly learn from who they are, their culture, their experiences, whatever it might be. And then we can at least, while the world is going crazy, at least our circle can be diverse, interesting, and different. And I think that's really, the key to everything. And I think as that kind of spreads, this type of meaningless hate that we're seeing is going to melt away anyway. Hopefully, ideally, you know?
Through one conversation at a time. I worked for the federal government for 39 years and traveled around the world. And as an African American woman, my job was to educate people because people have stereotypes and they
Yeah,
think, okay, this person, what are they doing here? So I have a role to educate people. You know, I am
exactly.
I'm not the same as everyone else, okay? None of us are. So
Yeah,
you put me in this box, okay? And I'm gonna show you why I don't belong in that box. And I'm not
exactly.
going in that box. Period. You go in there yourself, because I'm not going in there. Okay? When I left my daddy's house, that was it.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Okay, that
Makes
was
perfect
it.
sense.
Okay?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I noticed,
So we have to show people how to treat us. Okay? By
yeah, no,
first having respect for ourselves.
yeah, no, 100%. I think that's really important. Respect for ourselves, but also respect for other cultures, but also inviting conversations that are unlikely because sometimes a lot of these things breaks down in a conversational aspect, and people are like, oh, you can't say that or you can't have that conversation because of this or that. But the moment you allow those, let's say, touchy conversations to happen or to form, you actually get the chance to influence someone's opinion. For example, I was at a party like a few years ago, and one of the guys, he desperately wanted to bring up, trans topics and all these different things. And everyone was like, oh, don't do it, not here and such things. So like, no, no, go for it, go for it. I want to hear it. I want to hear all of it. And then he brought up all the different things, all the different hatred. And I was like, fantastic, let's have a conversation about this. And I said, okay, let's do this. We'll do a shotting competition. For every fact or thing you mentioned that are incorrect, you shot. And every statement I make that I'm incorrect, I shot. And we go ahead and check three resources per topic. Needless to say, the guy got absolutely hammered. And so did I, to be honest. I got very educated. But the point being, we had a fantastic conversation. And it was, it was laughter. It was it touches the topic that nobody wanted to touch, but we turned it into something that was actually engaging, interesting. It was, we took on something that a lot of people wouldn't be willing to do, um, in a very wholesome manner. And that's, the key element. Because a lot of times it doesn't really matter if you're on left or right, I think. I think there's a lot of topics that we simply, or people simply refuse to discuss, refuse to touch, and it just refuse in general. Don't have a conversation about it or allow themselves to play what does both sides of one opinion look like. Let's explore that. And I think the moment you do it, regardless of who we are as people, regardless of what we believe in ourselves, I think that's the point we truly get to the root understanding of something. It's allowing ourselves to view the same topics from a supportive and oppressive manner, and simply filter it through a more clear lens, I think. So that's my topic. That's my thoughts on the whole topic, at least. Yeah, my own experience.
Cool. Yes, I love that. Let's see if we have some more comments here. Let's see. Advocate and advocates for the spirit say we need to be what we need to be. Okay, I agree with that. We need to stop looking for approval. She said, sharing is vital for communication. One brave soul is understood by those of the same train of thought. Even thought is like a gem, most definitely. Kill them with kindness, Brandon says. Alex, how does that influence what and how we build and sell digital products today?
That's actually a great question. That's a huge question. That was something that I was really scared about, was to show up and to be judged for who I was rather than what I was selling or my products or solutions. That was initially my super concern. But the reality is that it wasn't so much of a concern at all. I came to realize very quickly because people have pain points, and they really want to solve them. And in many cases, that pain points, they're looking for the best person to actually do it, to solve their issue. While they may judge you initially or judge me initially, which happened plenty of times, I'm sure of it, they're more interested in the actual solution itself and the price, because it's always going to be the problem versus price versus the outcome. So in many conversations I go on video, I always notice people pull back or they strike a certain face expression before the conversation really begins. And that's completely fine. I'm seeing it 1,000 times. I probably see it 1,000 more times. But when a conversation starts flowing and they realize that you genuinely care about their problem, about their company, about the outcome, the conversation often changes quite a lot, I've come to realize. So there is that. I'm not saying that there are going to be sales who are not going to be falling through because of who I am as a person, but I'm saying that many people are more obsessed with the actual issue than anything else. But I was worried about the same thing when I was attending the SaaS talk, for the founders and investors and such things, that I would get massively judged and for who I was and not for what I was doing. But in reality, it wasn't the case at all, because I have somehow mastered the art of walking with great amount of confidence. And I'm dressed quite well normally. I'm usually dressed in quite well-fitted clothes and such things, which helps me gain authority and trust with people, I think, when I meet them on the street or on events or face to face. I usually meet people, in a very fitted blazer or in a coat that is quite expensive. So it just communicates differently compared to now I'm sitting in a scarf. Does that make sense?
Dress to impress.
Yeah, exactly. I think at the end of the day, we are given the pleasure and opportunity to be perceived in whatever way we want to be perceived. If I will come in, it's hard to say, but maybe if my hair was pink, maybe I'll get perceived differently or more harshly. I don't know. I won't find out. But I think being who we are, and if we dress professionally, I think that alone will help change the perception a lot, because they see you dress professionally, even though your identity or whatever might not be what something they will support, but they still see you as a professional individual because you're dressed in that manner. So I think that's kind of my full extent of the thoughts I have. But yeah.
Did that answer your question, matter of fact? We advocate of the Spirit says we are here to break free of limitations given by others. I couldn't agree more. If we are able to assist one person, the layers opinions mean nothing if they come from the point of judgment. I couldn't agree more. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yes. So Alex, how did you come up with the name Dream for your company? Or does it stand for acronyms or something?
That's a great question. How did I come up with it? So It wasn't the initial company name, to be honest. It was something completely different. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I have multiple domains. I've had a company, I had a domain called CodeSplash. I had a domain called Lunette.ai. And so the way Dream came to be was that I was trying to brainstorm names. I had no idea what to really go ahead and write down. I feel like I was kind of confused with, like what I was supposed to call the company. And then I was started to write down what exactly do I want the company to communicate? Like, what does the name communicate at all? Who am I and who is the company? What am I communicating to anyone? So I wrote down a whole list of things that I wanted it to be. I wanted it to have some roots in Norway, hence the A, and then I wanted it to have a certain style, have a certain flair to everything. And it was initially my plan. I went through what feel like billions of words that had an A and an E, so I can swap them around and make an A out of it. So I just kind of went through words and words and words, and then I was listening to, Aaron Smith, Dream On.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was very coincidental. And then I was like, Dream. I was like, Dream is definitely taken. There's no chance it's not taken. But is Drum taken? And then I was like, if I write drum with an A, uppercase A, it looks like an A and an E that you just swap it around. And in English, most people pronounce it as a dream anyway. So I was like, there we go. We solved the problem. So yeah, it was kind of like that's why we'll see the brand name Dream everywhere. While you won't see the domain name a lot, which is actually Drime.io. But that will be coming quite soon. But that's kind of how the name kind of came to be. Um, and I think what's interesting about it is that when I was trying to pronounce it, I struggled a lot. I was like, how do you pronounce Draem? Is it Dram? Draim? Um, and then I kind of came up with the idea that, well, every dream has this moment of stuttering. So I was like, that's fantastic. That's my logic. It kind of works out, doesn't it? So I thought it was really interesting, a creative way to kind of, go about, naming the company as a whole. Because I've always been a dreamer. I've always been somebody who's zooming out in this dream and kind of get lost in my own thoughts a lot of times. Um, Probably because of ADHD and autism back in there as well. But that's my mind is kind of very dreamy. Um, and so so yeah, I guess it just felt like it all fitted, into one cup. I felt like I was watching my whole life kind of just zoomed out and just popped in a coffee cup and be like, that's dream right there. Um, and that's kind of where it all started. And that's why I wanted to target Hotspot, but work with creators and founders and SMBs because they're all in the same cup. Everyone is dreaming, everyone is hoping, everyone wants to accomplish something. And I want to be there with everyone when that's happening. I want them to use my system. So that's the thing. I want to make sure that my system enables them to get their goals. So we are all growing in unison.
Well, talk to us about your program. I might want to join.
Yeah, no, it's when it comes to Dream, it's actually a full ecosystem. So you can think of it this way. So most companies or creators or founders, one of the biggest things they are going to be facing sooner or later is I know, as Advocate says, everyone has their dreams. Is that they don't know how to manage the data. They don't know how to do different things, how to do cross-platform. And in a lot of cases, when you try to do certain things, you can do a lot of manual labor. So your scaling is going to be very limited unless you're willing to do insane amount of administrative work. So the way Dream is designed is that everything runs in unison around the company. So we have marketing systems that is designed for multiple platforms, fully integrated, which means I can write a campaign, I can write the content based on a campaign, I can schedule it for a full week, and then that's it. No more touching. It's going to happen automatically. No problem. And to buy the same systems, you have to pay thousands and thousands of euros. Mine runs on 30 euros a month. So it's a bit of a difference in terms of what I'm actually paying because I design everything from the ground up. Um, and that's just one of the systems because that is designed for organic growth. And then the web page is designed for signups, and that goes into my CRM system. So the CRM system can filter through a multitude of different things, which is where the podcast comes in, the work, the collaboration spaces, yeah, the project management, everything kind of flows from that point onwards. So depending on how everything is engaged in within my system, the data gets pulled in and out, and it always flows in unison, so that every action that I do with a company has a data point and has analytics. So I know that everything is done with purpose, but I only do as much as I need to and let the system do the rest. Um, but what's unique about the company is that I'm able to create custom solutions for everyone. So I can take one of my solutions and I can say, we have this need. I can just customize my whole solution to their needs while maintaining full ownership of the integrations. So I can continuously build out the integrations and add things to their platform without them having to worry about how to do it. So yeah, it's a very data-driven system altogether, and that's what was unique because Notion allows you to store data, but Notion has architectural limitation. But because of my background as a database engineer and also automation specialist, I can look at the limitations and I can scale past them by using a new architecture or how I split the data between multiple tables, allowing that data to not to grow more than have to be, but also using architectural solutions that I've seen in bigger companies. And then I can make 5,000, 50,000, 500,000 without too much issues. So, so there we go. That's kind of what Dream does. We make custom solutions, we make our own solutions. But I think ultimately, if a company wants to have the same solutions as what we do, they're looking at 100,000 euros spending a year, while for our spending, that's between 30 and 50 euros per month. And that's where things get crazy. And that's where we start to separate things because we are customizing everything. Everything is modular, everything can be added, and everything can be, subtracted as you see fit. But to keep your mind straight while you're architecting a complete data flow from start to finish, that's a huge job. That requires the brain to really stay in place without losing touch with reality. So very often I'm sitting and thinking, Alex, you're crazy. You should just roll up and go back to whatever job you came from, and this is too much for you. But realistically, I think it's a good path. Once everything comes to fruition, that's why I had to close down Dream earlier because now I'm entering. Now all the architects are done. Now I'm entering the stage where I'm developing everything that goes inside, which is all the data flows, all the different things, everything is just rechanged to be communicating with each other.
Wow. Are you hiring?
Great question. My friend was asking the same thing. Am I hiring? That's a fantastic question. I hope to be one day. I was speaking to a recruitment company last week, and they were asking me questions to like, what do you need help with? And I was like, I suck at designing. I suck at website designing. That's going to be an issue in the future. And I'll let you guys know. I'm not bad at it. It's a bottleneck. I do system solutions very well, but designs and social media content, that's my bottleneck. And that's someone I'm going to definitely have to hire at some point because I can't, like now I'm spending 3 days per section making a web page, and that's way too much time for me. I need to spend less time and get things moving faster. So I just dropped the whole web page and said, okay, back to system designs, let's get that going, and then we go back to web page eventually because this design part, I mean, I spend like days just wondering which color scheme to use, which font is good, which gradient. I'm going to go with that system, I'm going to go with glass architecture. What's the story? It's so many questions. So
If you like me, I am a perfectionist. I have to have everything and
yeah,
just have to be just perfect. But life don't work that way. I mean, because by the time you finish it all, then you'll come up and say, "Oh, I came up with a better idea how we could do this." Because I'm a systems thinker.
yeah, exactly.
And you could be in the development stage forever.
Oh, 100%. That's a big challenge. Knowing when to stop and when to ship is a huge thing. Because I actually recently saw a company that was promising crazy stuff. an AI company. There was crazy promises, and I was looking at the company. I was like, "You guys are not delivering anything." Like what you're saying, right? You're making some really lofty promises, and they just launched, and you had like thousands of people, and I'm like, "Hmm, that's an interesting approach." And I kind of told myself, they are getting a lot of hype, but the retention is going to fall off the cliff pretty quickly when they realize they're not delivering in that regard. But they're doing something really smart. They're shipping fast and iterating fast as well. And I should be doing the same thing. I should focus on my systems, get it done, and just throw the web page together and just go live. Because December is a quiet month, but January is a really busy month. So catching people in December could be immensely valuable for growth in January. Because if you're working in like companies and enterprises, they have a change freeze in December mostly. So nothing happens in December. Nobody make big changes there. They're just doing this stuff. But January and February, it just takes off like a rocket ship. And I definitely want to make sure everything is ready to do promo in December and then get clients in January. I think that's a good time to dive into things. We'll see how it goes.
Wow, you are something. I didn't realize you were into all that. I knew you was pretty smart, really smart. Okay. You have one of those, what you call it? I forgot what you call it, but anyway, um, the thing of it is you're helping people build an ecosystem is basically what you're saying
Yeah,
for their
yeah, exactly.
business.
Yeah, exactly. It's because the thing is, I've been to job interviews in smaller companies in the past, or I've collaborated with small companies, and I've had a question asked me. They're like, "So how do you handle your sales, like your leads?" And I'm like, "What do you mean how I handle my leads? I handle them inside the CRM." And they look at me, and I can see the guilty look in the face where they're thinking, "You don't have a CRM." So I'm kind of like, "Okay, that's fine. I can build one, I guess." It's just it was, and that's not uncommon. I spoke to lots of founders who told me that, yeah, I'm storing my client data in Excel sheets. And I'm like, okay, um, let's talk about that. So
Security. That's a security problem.
yeah, exactly.
Waiting to
And
happen, waiting to happen.
yeah, exactly. That's the big thing as well. So the problem is just when we're doing that, there's a lot of manual labor that comes with it. There's a lot of copy pasting. There's a very bad tracking of history. There is no place to, I suppose, making sure that all the data communicates so you can make, high quality decisions or anything like that. So we end up in a situation where everything becomes siloed, and that same happen with the growth as well. A company that silos everything will have they will hit a bottleneck where they're doing too much time on admin tasks and too little time on actually doing what it's supposed to do, if that makes sense. And that's a huge thing. And then how do you follow up with a client in, let's say, 2 to 3 months time? How do you remember the history? Do you go through your emails? Like what's the story? Do you go through, like, there's so many questions I have that I wouldn't understand how they can keep up with those elements.
It's a lot because as soon as you finish the design and everything and you're getting ready to put your product out in the world, then the technology changes and then you got to keep doing these modifications every 2 to 3 months. It
Exactly.
can become costly.
Definitely can be. It's definitely a challenging situation because most of them are too small to buy a CRM system from a big company, but it's too and yeah, it's like there's very few that caters to it. But at the same time, who will you go to? Because you're maybe operating with 10, 15, 20, which seems, good to be a Excel sheet. But you're also missing out on opportunities like email list or, welcome journey, welcome to your company. There are so many strategies that is untapped and there is so much revenue being put on the table that they don't necessarily understand themselves how much they're losing out on. And they're not also, generating this from social medias. They're trying, but they're often failing because they don't know how to make the pipeline flow. So yeah, it's a lot of small things that they are spending time doing administrative rather than actually producing, which is where I come in.
And that's good because you're going to make a lot of money. Okay.
I
We
hope
know
so.
that. So,
I hope
yeah.
so. Cross the fingers.
So, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. And the thing of it is that, like I said, the technology is changing. A lot of these companies don't even have enough employees to do the necessary work that needs to be done. Okay.
exactly. Yeah.
And you got to do all these QA tests while you're putting the thing together and making sure that you minimize the garbage that you're putting in. So in the end, it'll be less problems down the road.
No, 100%.
So
I think a lot of
so
companies, yeah.
go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like as I said, it's definitely if doing it in-house can be a challenge because not everyone, has the same thing. But I really got the idea because in every company I ever worked for, every single one, it doesn't matter if the company is 20,000 employees, 350,000 employees, if they're making billions or tons of billions, it doesn't matter what stage they are financially. They all have one thing in common. They all have a process that is costing the company either hundreds of thousands or millions. And they're all easily automatable, right? All of them are. So if companies who have access to unlimited money, unlimited people, resources, everything, if they can't do it, imagine what an SMB company can't do, right? They're far less. And they might be specialized as a salesperson and building their company based on that. They would have no idea how to do automation. So that's kind of where the logic came down, is that no matter the company, every company has these holes that is stabbing a hole of the money sack and is watching the money run. So I think that's, it's interesting. It's fascinating. So I just realized that it was a good place to dive into.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you the truth. There's no way in hell we can keep up without automating these repetitive tasks. It's just too much.
Yeah,
Okay,
100%.
I can't keep up. Okay, I'm like, where am I getting these emails from? Where am I getting all these messages from? Okay,
Yeah,
I done
no,
I done
exactly.
created I done created this monster and I can't figure it out. But anyway, the thing of it is I try to find a system that has as many functions as possible because I don't want to have to use 10 systems to do one job. Okay,
Exactly. Yeah.
and that's another thing. Okay.
But that's actually quite challenging. For example, what you mentioned on the first point is that when I'm working in tech, sometimes you experience communication happen through systems, and sometimes it's through email, and you kind of lose track of those kind of different things. If any of my clients have an issue, they would raise a task or a case with me. If a case get raised with me, every single email they send me come to the very top inside my own dashboard, and I only work from a dashboard. So I wouldn't pay attention to my email. I just filter through all the communication that are relevant or highly relevant straight into the dashboard so I can see everything straight away. So it's all about, making it smart, but you make a good point. So here is kind of like, here's where things get interesting and where Notion really stands out is we often think about how many different systems we have to use to solve one problem, but it's all about integration. So if we take all the best systems, we put them into one system, we get access to every single thing in there. So my logic is that no company is best at doing something. So if I can use the best companies at whatever they're doing, integrate their stuff and use that, and I can change that company as I see fit based on who's the latest or who's the best at a time. So that's the power of being modular, of using integrations, of using data flow, is to integrate those who are doing the best job and skipping those who are not, because the big systems, they will just say, here's everything, but you won't know how to use half of it. And they might not be the best at doing some of these things. So there's that as well. So I think that's why Notion is really powerful, because you can just do everything. You can integrate as much as you want. In Notion is as powerful as its integrations, essentially. If you know how to integrate, you know data flow, Notion is powerful. Otherwise, it's a bit of just a template system.
Well, that's very good. So I really appreciate you coming in and having this conversation. We realize that technology is changing faster than we're breathing,
Yeah,
honestly. So
it
it's
is.
hard.
Yeah,
It's hard to keep up, And
it is.
so So building this ecosystem, if people need help with that, they can definitely reach out to you.
Absolutely. And the best part is that once everything is live, they can simply just sign up for anything in Dream and they will see how things are actually working. And they get to see visually how everything communicates. So it's a quick way to get insight into how to build an ecosystem for 2025 and onwards.
2026 coming up. So
I
yeah,
know. Can't
we
wait.
have to be about it if we want to keep elevating and growing exponentially financially. We have to start utilizing these tools to our advantage. Okay,
Yeah,
so we can concentrate on doing the things that we love. What that may be. So
that's really the key.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. Does anybody have any comments or questions for Alex? The advocate of the spirit said, she said, you are a dream weaver.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I try my best to weave dreams and data and see where it goes.
Yes, and you also are an empath, okay?
This is
and
true.
you're intuitive, and I could tell that when I met you. So yeah, we have a lot in common.
We definitely do. It'd be fun to collaborate more.
Absolutely. I'm all for it because I always have a lot of ideas, okay?
That's
and
fantastic.
Those ideas can turn into making some money. I'm all for
Exactly.
for a partnership.
That's amazing. We should definitely explore these things. I love ideas. I got loads of ideas as well. And meeting other people with ideas is fantastic. It's my favorite thing.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Alex, for coming in today and having this conversation with us. I'm sure we've all learned a lot from you. And that's why we like to bring subject matter experts in like yourself so we can continue to elevate and grow.
Thank you for having me, Margaret. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed the conversation. I really enjoyed the podcast. And it's a really it's a fun experience to be sharing what I'm actually working on and all those different things because most of the time I sit there alone and just work in the darkness. So it's nice to speak about these different things on your podcast.
Thank you. Do you have any final words that you would like to share?
No final words, at least not big words, but at least I have these ones from my own learnings, is that we don't always need to know the direction we will end up going, but the most important part is really to start to move in a direction with some momentum, and you'll be surprised what falls in place in the future, even though it may seem hazy, confusing, and quite challenging, a lot of self-doubt. I find that when we move through all those things, we actually find that things falls in place more than we may expect them to. At least that's what I learned with Dream. So there we go.
Thank you so much, Alex. All the best, and I will be in touch.
Fantastic. Looking forward to it. Enjoy. Nice to meet you, everybody. I see you all around. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.